So just let you know, I do 2 cycles a year. The first 6 months and the second 6 months. Boom! Boom! What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, tigerfitness.com. Right to the point, let's talk about blasting and cruising steroid cycles, and let's also talk about it in the context of TRT and if you can blast and cruise legally with a doctor's help based on what is available through prescriptions. So before I get this going, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, and buy all your sport nutrition supplements, including Ambrosia Nectar, which is great if you are cycling because it's an organ health formula at tigerfitness.com. Let's get to the point. Okay, so blasting and cruising is essentially never coming off of steroids. Cycling steroids would mean, let's say you're on steroids for about 12 or 16 weeks, and then while you're on cycle, at least this is how I recommend people do it, or how I heard it's the safest, right? Not a doctor, of course, be sure to talk to your doctor. I'm not a doctor, I'm an idiot, so of course consult with your doctor before deciding to do anything. So check it out. Basically what you do is you take HCG, which is something that keeps your balls working. It keeps your balls from shutting down, or as my doctor calls it, keeps the pilot light on, okay? Those who understand how water heaters work, understand what I'm talking about, or gas fireplaces, right? After you're done with your cycle, you have your HCG, your balls are still working, you taper off the HCG, you throw in something like Novadex, kickstart yourself, and boom, you are kind of back in business, your balls are working, and you mitigate a lot of the downsides to coming off, which is your body is not producing testosterone enough, and you're not injecting exogenous testosterone, which is testosterone that is not produced by your body. So you have a period where you lose a lot of the gains you made on cycle because your body has not started producing its own to maintain, or at least maintain some of the gains you made. What blasting and cruising is essentially, let's say you do a 12-week cycle of testosterone, equipoise, and let's say the first 4 weeks you start with anadrol, using high doses like 500 milligrams to a gram a test, and let's say 250 to 500 milligrams of equipoise. So after you're done with that 12 to 16 week cycle, instead of using post-cycle therapy, which is coming off, you don't come off, you just immediately go to a lower testosterone dose or at or slightly above a TRT dose, which would be around 250 milligrams. You stay on that, let your body somewhat normalize, not be on too much of a super physiological dose. Again, 250 milligrams for a lot. That's usually what I see people doing on their cruises. But for me, my TRT is at 150 milligrams a week. So it'd be above my TRT. But I've known people whose bodies just don't do well with injected testosterone. They'll literally be on 250 milligrams of prescription test. It's not bunk shit. And their test will literally be at like 1200. So some people, again, it's individual how much TRT you need. We've gone over that. There's no like, okay, if I take 150 milligrams of test, I'm going to be at 1242. No, it depends on a lot of factors. Lifestyle, stress. There's a lot of things that affect how much testosterone you need to get your levels to normal, high normal, or super physiological, right? So a blast and cruise would essentially be doing a big steroid cycle with a bunch of different compounds, or just a lot of one or two. And then instead of coming off completely, you stay on testosterone only enough to maintain your gains, which again is normally 250 milligrams. So the benefits to blasting and cruising is that you keep your gains. And also you don't have that time off. A lot of issues people have with being on steroids, aside from the whole, it's probably going to be a contributor to your death. Like steroids do things that cause you to die. Like it doesn't kill you directly. It's not like overdosing on insulin. It's not like shooting yourself, but essentially you're going to cause imbalances in your LDL and HDL, meaning higher LDL, lower HDL, which is bad. It's going to cause your lipid levels to be off. It's going to cause your AST, ALT, if you do orals especially, which are your liver hormones, to be off. It's going to do a lot of funky things that aren't good for your health. So aside from that, coming off of steroids, it's mentally fucked. You go from going to the gym, and again, man, I've told the story about pre-contest. I was on a cycle in 2013, and I literally, like, I might have been able to touch 405 on bench for like 1 rep, maybe 2. Dude, there's videos of it. If you go back in 2013 and look at my YouTube channel, I was like 3 or 4 days out from a show, and I was literally benching 405 for reps. I'm surprised I didn't tear my pec right off the friggin' bone, but literally, you go from that to just nothing. So what staying on the test will do, it'll keep your test. So let's say you're at 20,000 tests. You're on an Uber cycle. You drop down to 250. Your test goes down to like, let's say 2,000. Okay, you went from 20,000 to 2,000. Sucks a little bit, right? But if you went off the 20,000 with PCT, you might drop down to 100 tests. You might drop down to 200. So at least you're staying at a level that's going to maintain a lot more gains. So psychologically, also besides the fact that you just suck in the gym, you're losing size, you don't have the veins, you don't have the pumps, there's also some things go on chemically in the brain. Serotonin, melatonin, all the tonins, they're all affected by your hormones. Your body works as one big unit, right? It's one big symphony, right? Let's say you go to the symphony and you're listening and it's like you got the trumpets, you got the flutes, and then you got the violin, and then the violinist just dies. It doesn't work as well. Like the beats are off and the drummer, the little drummer boy, like he falls off and he breaks his arm, can't beat with the drum anymore. He just has one arm going. Your body is a symphony. You start fucking with one hormone, you fuck with all of them. So it's really hard physiologically and also mentally. So that is a blast and cruise. And for most people, look, man, there's no real way to abuse steroids. And I say abuse, meaning that they're not prescribed for a deficiency like TRT. Say you go to the doctor and your test is really low. For example, one of my relatives is obese. Okay, he's on a higher dose of TRT than I am because his body just doesn't metabolize it enough because he's obese. And being that I'm healthy and my body's working right, it does more with the testosterone I have. So when I say TRT, like everybody thinks TRT, like, you know, is just a way of bodybuilders saying they're cruising on their blast and cruise. But there's a lot of people. In fact, I would say I live in a very nice neighborhood in Brentwood, Tennessee. Of the men I know in this neighborhood, over half of them are on TRT. Because they have very demanding jobs. A lot of people stay physically active in my area. You'll generally find that people like go to Lifetime Fitness. Those people can afford $300 a month for 2 memberships. They're going to pay attention to their stuff. So people who can afford TRT, none of my neighbors are bodybuilders. None of them compete in sports, but all of them are on higher doses than me because men need TRT if they're deficient in testosterone to perform optimally and live a very, very, very fun life. Testosterone, when you need it, is a godsend. Again, over 50% of my male neighbors are on TRT, period. And I'm talking like dozens of dudes. So it ain't just bodybuilders, it ain't just me. It's just TRT's awesome if you need it. But at the end of the day, you know, there's risk inherent in everything. But I would say the risk of being low in testosterone when you're deficient in it, when you have a problem, is more risky and worse for your health. And of course, your life's going to suck, comparatively speaking, to if you get it treated. So let's say you're on TRT. This is a bonus to this video. If you're on TRT, can you do a blast and cruise? And the answer is, if your doctor is a nice guy, yes. By the way, speaking of great doctors, I have one. Hormone Health and Wellness. I'll link them down below. They are the best. I do not get paid. They are just good friends of mine. They've literally changed my life for the better. And I will promote them as much as I can. It's Hormone Health and Wellness in West Palm Beach, Florida. They'll work with anyone within the United States. You don't have to visit them. So how do you do blast and cruise when you are working with a hormone clinic or a doctor? Well, the answer is there are a lot of drugs or steroids that are prescribable to help you in doing different things, like working with your SHBG, right? Which helps to free up bound testosterone. So two things that can be prescribed by doctors: Anavar, Winstrol or Stanozol. I believe Boldenone, which is AKA Equipoise, is also been approved to be prescribed by some clinics. So there are ways to blast and cruise with TRT. Again, it depends on your doctor. So what you would do is you'd keep your test dose at whatever it's at. So let's say you're prescribed 200 milligrams a week. You stay with the 200 milligrams a week, and then you just toss in that other compound. Throw in 50 milligrams of Anavar every day. You're going to get noticeable results. Throw in 50 milligrams of Winstrol every day. You're going to get results, period. Probably less. You could probably get by with 25 milligrams a day. Okay, at the end of the day, there are ways to do that. Now, what is my thought? My thought is do whatever the fuck you want to do. I just don't want to see people getting hurt. If you want to go black market and you're willing to take those risks, I highly advise against it, but I need to tell you the risks. The risks are, number one, not in order of importance, is that, for example, a lot of Anavar you buy on the street is actually Anadrol. So let's say you buy Anavar because you heard that females can take it without side effects, because it was made for women and children in the beginning. It doesn't aromatize like other androgens. So let's say you get that. A lot of times Anavar will be Anadrol. If a woman takes Anadrol, she's going to have some virilization effects, which means facial hair growth, facial structure, enlarged clitoris, which I think is great. The clitoris is extremely hard to find sometimes. So to each his own. If you want to take those risks, so be it. I, however, do not recommend black market steroids. I've taken them and I regret it. I'm not a huge fan of black market steroids because of the risk. But if you have a good source, you do your thing. Again, know the legal ramifications and the risks and the health ramifications and risks. You do you, not me to tell you what to do with your body and your life. Now, if you do utilize a doctor, they will be guiding you through this. They will be having your blood work taken every 6 to 12 months. They will be monitoring your levels. They will be monitoring what's going on. So if you are eligible for TRT, if you have low testosterone, or you want to get checked and explore your options, again, I'll give you mine. A lot of great clinics out there. There's a new one opening up in Tennessee. I know there's the Low T centers. I know there's Revive. There's a lot of options. But whether they're good, bad, indifferent, at the end of the day, you're not getting black market gear. So I feel safer about you not getting cellulitis or any kind of bacterial infection from the injection, or getting the wrong compound altogether, potentially getting injured or dying, which I don't want to see. So to surmise this story, blasting is what I defined as before, where you go on a cycle, where you put in a lot of hormones, whereas cruising is being at or above, slightly above TRT dose to maintain probably a testosterone level between 1,000 and probably 3,000 to maintain the gains you got from the blast. So what are the normal durations of a blast and cruise? It depends. I've known some guys, there was a pro bodybuilder I knew back in the day, back before I was a pro, back before I was even a NABA pro, and he used to actually do 4 weeks on, 6 weeks off. So the rule of thumb, it used to be, and I don't know what it is now, but this is what it used to be back when I was in my early 20s and I talked to all the pro bodybuilders and I worked at Weider. It used to be equal time on, equal time off. So if you do 12 weeks on, you do 12 weeks off. If you do 4 weeks on, you do 4 weeks off. However, with the way things are going, I think a lot of people just stay on and they just go harder and harder and harder. And I don't think that's good at all. So if you're not going to come off at all, be smart about it. And if you're not being prescribed drugs by your doctor, go to a doctor anyway, or get your blood work ran. Make sure you're in the normal ranges for BUN, for creatinine, for AST, for ALT, for lipids, for HDL, for LDL. And again, what I want to say too is I always recommend a good liver health supplement, a good organ health supplement. If you want to look into one, there's ambrosia nectar. I sell something called ox bile, which is a bile salt, much like TUDCA, which is another option. Make sure you're taking care of your health. Do your cardio every day. You know, make sure you get at least 30 minutes of low intensity cardio in a day. And make sure you eat healthy. If you eat junk food, processed junk, which is going to mess up your parameters, your HDL, LDL, lipids, and all that anyway, you're combining fire and fire, right? You're combining steroids, which do that stuff, and garbage food, which have those negative effects. That's a double-edged sword. And another thing, if you are on steroids, or even if you're not, but especially if you're on steroid, don't drink alcohol. Alcohol does all those bad things, plus the hepatotoxicity if you are on oral steroids is absolutely absurd. Do not drink alcohol, especially if you're taking steroids. I hope this video helped you out. Again, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell. Outright bars, by the way, get them at GNC, and you get them at tigerfitness.com. They're there right now. And thank you so much for watching. And please, 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 I implore you, if you have supplements to buy, go to tigerfitness.com, support your boy. Thanks so much for watching. That's not a game.
I used to have to go through dozens of bottles of vitamins, of supplements, just to get what I need. Look, I'm busy. I'm running multiple businesses. I'm coaching. I'm a professional bodybuilder getting ready for my first pro show. I don't have time to sit there and do all that. I gotta go. I'm on the go all the time. That is why I created MTS Nutrition Immortal. Here's how they look. This replaces dozens of bottles of supplements. So let me tell you exactly what this has. It has probiotics, greens, liver detox, joint support, cardiovascular support, and the most complete multivitamin, multi-mineral supplement ever created. If you have a busy life or you simply want more time to do the things you love and be able to travel by just taking one simple little pack with you, Immortal's for you.